Welcome back to Micah's Weather Channel. Hurricane Hugo was a storm that came into Charleston, South Carolina, and struck billions of dollars of losses and caused mass destruction and killed many, many people. It came up from the Caribbean and went into the Atlantic Ocean and hit Charleston, and it went up into the Charlotte area. But later in this video, we'll be covering all this, where it went and where the destruction happened and how it formed and all of this. So, when and where did this happen? The first part is where. And it strengthened or formed off the coast of Africa, and as it came over, it strengthened all the way to category 5. Monster category 5. Did not stay there for long. It went back down to a category 4 and plowed over the Virgin Islands. Just caused major losses. It was really bad. And then it went up to the Puerto Rico, and it went just to the west of it and kind of went over it, and it was kind of west, so it did cause a lot of damage too. So then it went north into the Atlantic, kind of where the Gulf Stream is, and you would think over the Gulf Stream it would strengthen and go more, but it would actually went down to category 2, which is interesting. And then, so it's a category 2 coming into Charleston, South Carolina. And the locals, as they're going to bed that night, and the National Weather Service are like, it's category 2, it won't be that bad, we don't need to evacuate. Overnight, it strengthens into a category 4 hurricane, with the biggest gust that they recorded was 138 miles per hour, which is devastating, and comes in to Charleston, South Carolina, and causes major loss and destruction. And then, as it is coming up, it is still really bad, and then it hits Charlotte, causes massive winds, massive tornadoes, lots of rain, and the flooding was so bad. Edisto Island, which is 30, 40 miles south of Charleston, recorded 10 inches of rain during the storm. Just amazing amount of rain. Insane, insane storm. So when did it happen? In 1989, this storm formed, and it was really bad. One of the many islands that Hurricane Hugo went over was Guadalupe, and it went over that and just plowed over it, with a staggering over 50 lives lost, and their crops were just destroyed. It devastated so many Guadalupeans' lives, and it was insane down there. It also went over Puerto Rico and struck many, many of the same loss. It was devastating down there. On September 21st, 1989, Hurricane Hugo slammed into Charleston, South Carolina. The eye literally went over right over of the downtown Charleston area. And the highest wind gusts recorded at the Charleston Customs House was 189 miles per hour. Crazy, crazy amount of wind. And since it went right over Charleston, as I covered in my last storm surge video, the storm surge is going to be worse up a couple miles, 10 miles, depends on how big the storm is, north of the storm. And so in this storm, McClellanville and mainly Bowles Bay, which is a bay about 15 or 20 miles north of Charleston, had so much storm surge. They had 20 feet of storm surge. Can you imagine? If you look up here, 20 feet of storm surge on this tide would cover the yard, almost be covering that. It could be covering that. It would be insane. Like, the amount of loss and destruction from that is insane. The amount of money that Hurricane Hugo caused was $14 billion. That was adjusted for the 2017, like the way the money does in 2017 than it did in 1989. And it was amazing. The Charleston storm surge probably would have been about 12 to 15 feet, which is still insane, which struck staggering losses. It actually, boats were up on dry land, and trees were down in the middle of roads, and power lines were down, and water was super high. It was a crazy storm. So after it hit Charleston, South Carolina, it treks up to Charlotte, North Carolina, and in Charlotte, they suffered staggering losses too. Super strong wind gusts, uh, so much rainfall, flooding, and tornadoes. Tornadoes were really, really, really bad. It was really bad there. Thanks for watching this video on Micah's Weather Channel. Stay tuned for more videos.